What scientific experiment would you run if money and ethics weren't an issue? The Gilligan's Island experiment. Shipwreck 100 people with vastly different backgrounds, wealth disparity, and personalities on a remote island. See what kind of civilization grows from it, then do it 50 more times to check results against each other. Have an Olympics where every single athlete is drugged to an insane level. I think it would raise what is possible by today's standards drastically. And then have an average person compete alongside them to show the disparity. We all want to see the limits of human capabilities. I'd train gorillas in weightlifting, really see how tanked they can get, boost them with steroids along the way. After that, I take my army of beasts, pump them full of coke, and let them loose in an empty shopping mall. Want to see which stores they like and which ones they don't. You know, for science, of course. See if a monkey tribe could become dominant over the rest by training them to make and use weapons and other primitive technology. Also interested in seeing if they would take their newfound knowledge and begin to expand an empire. Scientists know that monkeys don't teach each other, they can only watch and repeat. But humans teach each other, and when we're little, we believe everything we're told. This has given us a huge advantage in developing and forming society. Dinosaur cloning? What else is there to do? Although we have many movies showing that this is a very dangerous undertaking. Your like and subscription will really help my channel. I'd like to clone several sets of baby Hitlers and see how they grow up in different environments. Some can include a loving family, the kind that you barf at because they're so perfect, a Jewish family, an artistic family that encourages his talent, an abusive family similar to the one he grew up with, a family of scientists, and finally, the most unethical environment, a family of politicians. And also a second set of cloned baby Hitlers, so we can finally solve which percentage of people would kill baby Hitler. There are a ton of geoengineering experiments that I'd love to run. For example, iron fertilization, basically dumping tons of iron dust into the ocean to cause an algae bloom, which should sequester a bunch of carbon and help mitigate global warming. Also, cloud seeding, space mirrors, dropping a nuke into a volcano, you know, normal stuff. It would be interesting to improve humans through the embryo or through the parent's DNA, changes in intelligence, memory, physical characteristics, gills to swim underwater, changes in vision to see the full spectrum of light, etc. How long a decapitated head stays conscious. All we have are anecdotes that might have been exaggerated. I've always wanted a definitive answer, but you know, ethics. When the French still used guillotines, I believe it was reported that people would still blink and look for about 10 seconds. Deleted because Reddit has banned me for a joke about fat cannibals. Near-death experiences and what people see. So basically, I'd want to put a bunch of people into clinical death and then bring them back to life. I'm sure a lot of them wouldn't make it back. I'd want to see what a society of children would do on their own if they were alone from birth. How would they develop language, ethics, culture? And as they got older, how would they handle coming of age without adult role models? I think an experiment like that would answer a lot of questions about sociology, psychology, and philosophy. It would be like watching the beginning of human society from scratch, with no external influence. Yes, I have read Lord of the Flies. However, that is a work of fiction. I've always wanted to try to breed a winter-blooming rose. The cost of maintaining the required number of roses in a greenhouse and decades of selective breeding would be astronomical. Completely genetically modify some kids and make some next-level humans that can run stupid fast and jump crazy high, then make the superhuman Olympics and figure out what humans are really capable of. This is very different from what I just read about winter-blooming roses. Teach a kid the wrong words for everything and see how long it takes for them to adapt. It seems some people have done this to kids. Don't do this, it's horrible. How athletes from different sports react to fight or flight. Even further, will they fight differently depending on the sport? That's kind of how the first UFC fight went. They had the boxer fighting a judo guy and a sumo wrestler fighting a kung fu guy, or something like that. To measure the effect on development of humankind by eliminating the least or the most intelligent 5% of the human population every year. Have a baby human raised by apes. Basically to see if Tarzan's scenario would occur and the human is able to communicate fully with the apes. There have actually been a lot of cases of wild children who were raised with animals. Look up feral children and you'll find plenty of stories. A series of experiments to see how you can control nerve sensations from the brain and whether you can create VR that can perfectly mimic the sensation of touch whilst being motionless, as if you're moving and touching something in a virtual world, but not in the real world. Is that even possible? Your like and subscription will really help my channel. Thanks a lot for your donations.